It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero. It's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening, whenever you're listening. I hope you're doing okay today. Today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant located on St. Simon's Island in Georgia. Check out his website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. Or give him a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328, and make sure you visit Sal's for an authentic Italian meal. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by the Holiday Inn. What do you say? Yeah, I say the Holiday Inn. All of the Holiday Inn properties, if you're going to be traveling anywhere in the U.S., make sure you stay at a Holiday Inn property, and I can even save you some money. That's right. We can get you a Billy C discount. Just call toll-free 844-603-0364, 844-603-0364. Or just visit our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the banner, which is right on the right-hand side. And finally, today's show, she's being brought to you in a part by my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Men on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold. And you can get a copy of this book right now while you're watching or listening to this show. Just visit BarnesandNoble.com or Amazon.com. Find out why I'm so adamant about getting my man Tom Molyneux's story told. A couple of things. Today's show is going to be a little shorter than normal. We got some things going on, but don't worry. We'll be back to our normal times tomorrow. We launched a new chat up on BillyCBoxing.com, so bear with us with our growing pains. We're trying to eliminate all the idiots, but fear not, there are plenty of them around, so we'll keep you posted on that. I want to talk about all of the fights from this weekend. We had some decent ones. And also, we're going to introduce a new segment today. I got a new segment, and basically, it's called the Heavyweight Roundup. You know, here's the deal. The heavyweight division is doing better than it has been for quite some time right now. And I just figured, you know, a lot of times we'll be talking about you know, a fighter, a heavyweight, all of a sudden, oh, he's got this mandatory, and we're looking at each other and saying, who the hell is this guy? Where did he come from? Well, what I'm going to do from now on Mondays, I'm going to do a heavyweight roundup. All the heavyweight fights that took place around the globe, I will give you the results and obviously the winners, so we can start to become familiar with these names. So I'll get to that in a minute, but first, the bottom line is, let's start with the fight results. Adrien Broner and Jessie Vargas treated us to a very entertaining fight, at least in my opinion, on Saturday night. However, this was such a WWE format. I was shocked at the back and forth at the end. I mean, you might as well start putting the WWE banner. Showtime and every single event is becoming like this. At the end of the day, Adrien Broner and Jessie Vargas fought to a 12-round majority draw. And I tell you the truth, after the 6th round, I said to myself, I said, Bill, because I don't say Billy C when I talk to myself. I said, Bill, this fight is going to end in a draw. And it did. One judge had it 115-113 for Adrien Broner, while the other two had it 114-114. I thought it was an entertaining fight. I thought Charlie Fitch did a great job refereeing. I think he's one of the best referees out there today. Adrien Broner is now 33 wins, 3 losses, and a draw with 24 wins coming by knockout. Jessie Vargas, 28 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws. The bottom line with this fight, Jessie Vargas won the first half. Adrien Broner won the second half. End result, a draw. You know, watching this fight, you say to yourself, you know, what are the judges watching? Are they scoring for the, you know, the heart, the solidness of a punch, the power behind a punch, or are they scoring for total punches landed? Who knows? Joining me now with his thoughts on the fight, Sal Rocky Senecola. What'd you think of the fight, Sal?
Well, you made all good points of what are they scoring it on. Those are 3 different facets that they could look and utilize in their scoring. I like the fight. It was an entertaining fight. I did have Vargas winning the fight by a point, but you know, it was close enough. Certainly, as you first described, yeah, Vargas definitely had the first half of the fight, and Broner came back strong in the second half of the fight. But I did give Vargas a round or so in that second half. But anyway, it was a good, entertaining fight. And I could definitely see the judges scoring it a draw. I'm not sure if I agree with the first judge, but then again, you know, it wasn't that close of a fight, so it was very interesting.
What did you? So you agree with the draw?
No, I thought Vargas won. I thought Vargas won by one point.
By 1 point?
Well, maybe. Well, let's see. I got him by 2. 2 points. I had Vargas winning. Yes, I gave the first round a draw, and it was like more of a feeling out. Let's get to know each other again out there, but I think that I had Vargas at 116, 114.
Some other fights on that card. As far as this fight, just touch on. I thought Broner looked good. I thought Broner looked good. He's got hand speed. His accuracy, you see, this is the difference between a fighter that is accurate with his punches and a fighter who's not. And I think, because Adrien Broner did not tire. Credit to him, he didn't. Do you think it's because he was able to, when he threw his punch, because he clearly threw less punches. Vargas threw 839 punches, according to the subjective punch stat, and Adrien Broner threw around 539. Vargas threw 300 more, but the accuracy of Broner had him connect with the harder shots. How much of a difference do you think this makes in terms of your energy level? I mean, did Vargas tire because he was missing with shots?
Hey, he could have. It's you do expend energy no matter how you throw a punch, and I don't think he would tire necessarily, but he definitely, that second half of the fight, he lost a step or two, and Broner was coming on. So you had a great argument with Broner weathering whatever he can take with the punches coming at him with the barrage in the first half, and then turning on the second half, coming alive and having himself back in the fight the way he did. Like I said, it was a good, entertaining fight, and definitely, Broner definitely had some good hits, a good mark, and good punches that he delivered in the second half of the fight. But I thought Vargas was able to win 1 or 2 of those rounds in the second half anyway. But it was a good fight. It was a good fight, Bill. I definitely could see a rematch. I would like to see a rematch.
Yeah, they it seems like they planned to discuss what they did at the end. I don't know if you caught that, but they kind of whispered. Adrien Broner whispered something in his ear, and then they came back at the end of the fight like WWE style in each other's face. Let's fight right now. Did you catch that?
I caught that, and I wasn't too complimentary of Broner's language or his antics there, but it was like you just said, a little WWE, and I like when a fighter lets his punches do the talking, and I thought that he was a little bit well with his mouth and his language. I didn't think it was 100% appropriate, but that's just me, in my opinion. But I definitely would be welcoming a rematch, and I would like to see that.
Some other fights we'll talk to on the same card. Jamal Charlo destroyed Hugo Centeno Jr.
Yes,
I can't stand. He at the end of the fight, he said, he now he's a mandatory for Triple G, and at the end of the fight, Charlo said, this has been an amazing journey for me to get here. I'm a 2-time world champion. Bring on Triple G. I want that fight. I'm 27-0 with 21 knockout. Everybody sees it. What more can I say? Everybody has avoided me, and from now on, this is how it's going to be. You see what you get. What is it with all of the Al Heyman fighters that say everyone's avoiding him? What is that, like a predetermined statement to say after a fight? Who the hell has avoided him? Who's he fought? He's had an amazing journey of cupcakes. Triple G or any other top middleweight is no Centeno Jr. No disrespect to Hugo. My main issue with the Charlo brothers is the size. This guy looked like a cruiserweight in there, Sal.
Well, again, two things I want to talk about, just touch on, because it's never going to be something my little voice here can make a difference with. But, again, it brings back the same day weigh-ins. I mean, these guys, they did not look like middleweights, but both of them were big guys. But definitely a case where I would definitely prefer seeing same-day weigh-ins that morning of the fight. You'll get a more realistic picture of a fighter who represents the weight class they're fighting in, number one. And number two, with these close fights or so, like a Broner and Vargas, the championship rounds, 13, 14, 15. Let's get back to the 3 additional rounds in a title fight. 13th, 14th, and 15th round. Those are the championship rounds. Those are the rounds that usually settle or decide the factor of who's going to win that fight with a more decisive approach.
I just, the size is getting crazy, really. It just, these guys can dry out, I guess, better than most.
Bill, it was no secret. I mean, that's how we often made weight, but we did it the day of. I mean, you literally stop drinking fluids 24 hours before the weigh-in. That means your last day before the fight. In the afternoon, later that afternoon or so, you stop ingesting or swallowing any fluids, and it's drying out. You sleep and you lose a pound as it is. So when you stop ingesting or swallowing any fluids, it's gonna be more of a catalyst, and you're gonna wake up 2-3 pounds lighter. And usually that's the difference that you can make on a scale, and then you just replenish yourself. I used to have a bottle of Gatorade waiting for me after I stepped off the scale. That was what was available at the time. But that was no secret. You dry it out the night before the fight. If you had trouble making weight, you just do that process. But when you look at the process of the day before the weigh-ins, you have more of a time to replenish or cut down more weight to get down lower. And then to build yourself back up, you have an additional 24 hours. So you're not really shocking your body or doing anything that's going to put additional stress or strain on it in that long period of time.
We're going to take a short break here, and I know it's a couple of minutes earlier, but we need to do so. So we're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Need relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt. The innovative technology works to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belt won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace? Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
For watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us today. And yeah, we're experiencing some little bit of growing pains here with our new chat room. At least I am. But anyway, some other fights from this weekend. Also on that card, Gervonta Davis. We were just talking about there's nothing to say about the Charlo fight. It was just an overmatched fight, and I can't stand when fighters are able to basically be handed a division. Both Charlo brothers, they're big and they look great, but they haven't fought anybody. Centeno Jr. is a good fighter, but it just didn't seem like they were in the same weight class, Sal. I mean, not even close to me, anyway.
I didn't notice that big of a difference, Bill. Of course, the fight was shorter than I thought it would go, but or be. But I think that they both look like big, overblown 160 pounders. I mean, they both look like they were walking around a little heavier than 160. So, it is what it is. That's what happens when you have weigh-ins the day before the fight.
Also on that card, Gervonta Davis improved to 20-0. Well, actually, I think he's 21-0 now. But with 19 knockouts, he knocked out Jesus Cuellar in the third round. This fight, this kid is good. I mean, listen, he's extremely fast. He's accurate. He's got a mean streak. I love this guy. If he can keep his nose clean, this is going to be a great fighter, and I'm using that term right now. Great. It was fun to watch, man.
It was, Bill, and he picked up a new trainer here, and I think it showed, reflected in his attitude, confidence, and his ability. I mean, the guy's dominant. He did a great job. It was a short fight, sure, but I'll tell you what, I liked what he said. I liked how he seems to be a little more grounded right now. He knows he is at a cusp in his career where he's going to stay on the right path and show the world what he can do in the ring. And I applaud him. I think he's able to turn around and do what he's got to do to put the foot down to the metal and accelerate his career. I really think he's going to be on a fast track. And this guy, the sky's the limit. He's going to be a superstar if he's kept on track and does the right things.
I want to make a point I forgot about. I gave the kudos and accolades to Charlie Fitch for doing a great job in the Broner-Vargas fight. And obviously in the Davis fight, Benji Estevitas did a fine job. But let me tell you something. That guy, Steve Willis, the face maker, the guy dancing around, that man has no business being a referee. He really doesn't. And let me tell you something. I know it's all about him. All he cares about is himself and trying to be famous. And then the friggin' announcers, he's one of the best. Yeah, okay. But let me tell you something. When Centeno got knocked out by Charlo, he was laying on the canvas, flat on his back, almost hanging over the ring apron. He was beyond the ropes. More than half of his body was beyond the ropes, or close to half his body. And what's that idiot Steve Willis doing? Counting over him. 1, 2. I mean, here's New York, right? New York you're getting a physical in between rounds, for God's sakes. They have 57 doctors on the ringside. And Steve Willis is giving him a full 10 count. That's when you walk up and you wave off the fight. This kid was making no attempt to try to get up. He was flat on his back, and he was out cold. This man, you got to look out for the safety of the fighters, Sal. Sometimes it's easy for us to criticize that a referee stopped the fight too soon. Be as it may, too soon is better than too late. What was Steve Willis going to do? Let this guy crawl up? If he could find out where he was already on the other side of the ropes, and climb up the rope and let him continue? There was no reason to make the full count, Sal.
Well, no, not at all. I mean, you could clearly see this guy was definitely not coherent and not going to get up. I noticed that, and boy, I'll tell you what, he was out. He was out, and that you didn't have to do a whole count, but he could have stopped and just said, "Hey, it is over." But it happens, Bill. It happens. But the safety of the fighter should be at the forefront at all times.
I mean, listen. That's what they say. They say that they care about the fighters and the well-being and the safety of the fighter. Blah blah blah. And all we get is ugats. We got nothing. That guy. He's terrible. He's terrible. I can't. I just. It makes me sick to see a referee, do that. I just, all he cares about is, making his faces and getting on TV. That's the sickening part.
Well, yeah, I don't like any referee that wants to be the superstar in the ring and is just doing more than the third man in a sense, and he wants a grandstand and showcase himself. No, I don't agree with that. But in defense, and that's how I always try to look at things from another perspective. Maybe he didn't see that he was out cold, or I don't think he was out cold.
Sal, wait a minute. Yeah. He couldn't see it.
Maybe he was just trying to see if he couldn't life left in, or he was going to make an attempt.
He couldn't
I was
see.
Thinking about that.
Sal,
come on,
Sal, wait a minute.
Get
Wait a minute, Sal. He couldn't see him. He was leaning right over him. The guy didn't make a move. He didn't make a move. He didn't even try. He didn't even twitch.
He thought he came up with his head a little bit.
Come on. That was, listen, if he was laying in the middle of the ring and he was like trying to get up and he was trying to get his equilibrium back, all right, give him the benefit of the doubt. This guy was on the other side of the rope, Sal. He was laying flat. His chest and head were practically hanging off the apron, and then from his belly down through his legs was in the ring. And he's counted over him. That was there's no way. There's no way he should. If safety first is your attitude, if that's the rule that you follow. There's no business counting over a guy who's on the other side of the ropes, flat on his back, making no attempt to get up. I'm sorry. Hey, listen, if we want to do it like that, like in the old days, they were able to stand right over him and wallop him with another shot, different story. Then let's do it that way. Either way, we got to pick one, right?
Well, we got to pick something. Absolutely. But no, I just really felt that he was looking to see if there was any clarity that was going to come to this guy, and that he was going to make an attempt, because he looked like he tried to lift his head, and I almost thought he was going to try and get up, but after like 4 or 5, it was evident that this guy was not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, it was weird. But anyway, some other fights that took place. Carl Frampton took care of Nonito Donaire. Donaire aged, I think, in his last fight, but Carl Frampton, the Jackal, improved to 25-1 with 14 knockouts. 117-111 were the way all 3 judges scored that fight. In Northern Ireland, he picked up the interim WBO title. Nonito Donaire drops to 38-4. Amir Khan took him less than a minute, 39 seconds to be exact, to destroy Phil LaGreco. Amir Khan, 32-4, 20 knockouts. Now, LaGreco drops to 28-4. Says he's back, says he's going to get all the big fights. This fight didn't surprise me one bit. Phil LaGreco was brought in just so Amir Khan could take care of him. In a fight that Sal and I both picked correctly, in a heavyweight division, which got me thinking, and this is why I started a new segment on this show, heavyweight roundup, which you'll hear on Mondays. I'm going to give you the results of all the heavyweight fights that took place over the weekend. But in this particular one, Otto Wallen improved to 20-0 with 13 knockouts when he scored a 12-round unanimous decision over Adrien Broner, who drops to 15-2 with 14 knockouts. Tomasz Adamek is trying to continue his career, and he did so in the right step, in the right direction. 53-5 now when he scored a 7th-round knockout over Joey Abel, who drops to 34-10. That took place in Poland. Also on that card in the cruiserweight division, Mateusz Masternak improved to 41-4 with 28 knockouts when he beat Yuri Kalinga. This was a substantial win. Masternak hadn't, I thought his best days were behind him, but Kalinga's a good fighter. He couldn't come out for the 7th round. This was a rematch when Kalinga won the first one, so Masternak back in the mix. Another heavyweight fight, Ejit Cabello improved to 18-0 with 13 knockouts when he knocked out Miljan Rovakanen, who drops to 19-2. Also on that card, heavyweight Tom Schwartz improved to 21-0 with 13 knockouts when he won a 5th-round disqualification over Sanid Gashi, who had not lost prior to that fight. He was disqualified for headbutting. I guess I didn't see this one, Sal, but I guess it was. If you're gonna disqualify somebody, that means the referee felt that it was intentional, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like definitely purposeful.
So that's what must have been the case. So just like I said, our new segment here, we have a heavyweight roundup. The whole reason I'm doing this, Sal, is, the heavyweight division right now is so hot. Everybody's talking about the heavyweight division, but a lot of times we all of a sudden hear this guy's name who appears in somebody's rankings, and we're like, who's this guy? Where did he come from? So I just thought that it would be a good idea for us to just get everybody caught up on the heavyweight division in terms of fight results on Monday morning. So at least we kind of subliminally hear about these fighters. What's your thoughts on that for a minute? Give me your thoughts.
No, I think it's great. I think, we definitely, we've always looked at some of the divisions with a little bit more attention than others. I mean, you have your core divisions, lightweight, middleweight, and heavyweight. And everything else around that has filled in and has expanded. The heavyweight division has always been the king of the division, a popular weight class, the most popular on some levels, and having the title of the heavyweight champion of the world, you literally feel that, wow, this guy could beat everybody in the face of the planet. Not always the case, but that's the assumption behind the heavyweight title belt. So it does get a lot of its notoriety and attention as being the person that could beat everybody on the planet. I mean, that's the old days, the old ways. I think it's neat to give the attention. It's a hot division, and surely, the only fight I really care to see in the division right now is Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. I think it's a good attempt. Let's see what happens with this. I like it.
Well, without further ado, here's a heavyweight roundup from this past weekend. I'll do Fridays first. Out of Argentina, Nahuel Calusi improved to 6-0 when he won a 6-round unanimous decision over Pablo Diaz. Pablo Diaz drops to 3-5. In the Czech Republic, Vasil Dukar improved to 5-0 via a first-round technical stoppage over Pavel Siska, who drops to 6 wins, 49 losses, and a draw. I've heard of Vasil Dukar, so there's one name that at least I'm familiar with. On Saturday, in Australia, Benjamin Keller improved to 8 wins, 1 loss, and a couple of draws when he won a 4-round unanimous decision over Robert Ferguson. Ferguson drops to 1-5. In Sweden, it was a bit of a bunch of heavyweight fights on this card. In Sweden, Alban Pervazjak improved to 8-0 when he stopped Akil Graventazar in the second round of a scheduled fourth. That's how you say it. In a second round of a
the J is silent.
Yeah, all the letters are silent in that one. But it's 10-7 now. Is that guy? Also on the card.
Who's the guy?
No disrespect. I don't know. Don't make me say it again. Also on that card, Agron Samaki improved to 13-0 via a first-round knockout over Gregory Tamashvili, who drops to. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea. Drops to 5-3.
We're gonna talk about this later.
Yeah, maybe all these worldwide guys, but drops to 5-3. In the UK, Alex Dickerson, he improved to 5-0 when he stopped Lee Carter in the first round of a scheduled 4. Carter drops to 1-4. In Liverpool, in the UK, Craig Clover improved to 7-1 when he beat Ritu Latinara via a first-round stoppage in a scheduled 4-round fight. Latinara drops to 5-2. In Brooklyn, at the King's Theater, Sergey Kuzmin improved to a 12-0 when he knocked out Jeremiah Carpensy, who drops to 15-2-1. Over in the Barclays Center, George Arias improved to 11-0 when he won a decision over Tyrell White. And Wright drops to 9-2-2. And we had a fight in Russia yesterday on Sunday. NVG Romanov improved to 9-0 when he won stopped Denis Bakatov, who now drops to 39-13. Bakatov, a one-time legitimate contender. Now can't even get out of the first round. But that's what happened in the heavyweight division, Sal, this past weekend. So make sure you remember all those names, and we'll hopefully see them soon.
Oh yeah, I think they're definitely going to be on the forefront and come back at us again. That's it. Good.
Hey, listen,
good read.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, I got some emails to read. So don't go anywhere. We will be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt. The innovative technology works to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belt won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
This is important news for women using birth control medications and devices. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with a pseudotumor after using one of these birth control drugs or devices, you may be eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Contact the law firm of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one have used one of these birth control medications or devices and were diagnosed with a pseudotumor to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Now, operators are standing by.
Hologram USA presents a proposal to all investors. Hologram USA is an innovative three-dimensional patented technology that shifted the paradigm in media technology. Our patented hologram technology that brought you Tupac and Coachella, Whitney Houston, Billie Holiday, and many more is integrating live performances to bring your favorite past and present entertainers beyond your imagination. Invest in the patented technology before the banks scoop up all the stock. Invest in Hologram USA today. Hologram USA Flagship Theater, located on Hollywood Boulevard's Walk of Fame, is the first of many to come. Call now to be part of the explosive growth. Pick up the phone. Dial the number on your screen now. Invest in Hologram USA today. Call the number on your screen right now to learn about this investment opportunity.
Call 800-624-1673. 800-624-1673. Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C., the only radio host man enough to take a punch from Mike Tyson.
Wait a minute, man. Hold on there. Jeremy, man, I need you to take this one, all right?
Wait, what? No way. I can't do this.
Need I remind you I'm Billy C., damn it? Now put on that mustache and get in there.
Hey, look at me. I'm Billy C. Crap.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C Show. Glad you could be with us. And we got some emails to read. You ready for some emails, Sal?
I am. Thank you.
All right, here's the first one. This is from Mitch. He says, I effing love this. And he sent me a link, basically an article that was written that Triple G is saying he's willing to be tested for performance-enhancing drugs from now until September. And he wants to know if Canelo is. Mitch says one of the flaws in VADA and boxing in general is that they announce when they start the testing point. So it allows people to cycle on and off of PEDs. I'm still more concerned with the illegal hand wrapping on fight night, but I'm loving this version of Triple G. He's going to get so far into Saul's head, he says, and I can't give him the privilege of calling him Canelo anymore, that Canelo might not even be right on fight night. I never thought this, but Triple G is becoming the offensive fighter outside the ring. He has been in the ring for the last 7 years. He's given Saul the business, and I don't think it'll stop until he retires. Basically, Mitch feels that he's starting a game of a war of head games, and something that he's not he hasn't characteristically done. It may be working. What's your thoughts on him? I mean, he clearly used the media a lot in this charade than he has in the past.
Well, sure, and like I said, why not? Because the media not only reports just the news, but they help stimulate and create it. And you want you can give as much dis or misinformation as you can information. And who knows? I think it's a good way to use it and to see it. And we'll see what happens. But Triple G's usually right on with his comments and marks. I don't think he pulls too many punches, and I think. Canelo, I mean, let's face it. I mean, I talked a lot this past weekend about Canelo Alvarez with a lot of the guys that come in the restaurant. We discussed the Triple G thing. We discussed a lot of boxing. And a lot of people, I'll tell you what, not only concur the fact that they saw the same fight you and I did with giving Triple G the victory over Canelo Alvarez. I mean, they were 100% across the board, the guys that I talked to. I've talked to a majority this past weekend. But they also felt that just as it is, it's black and white. They said Canelo is a cheater. They just called it. They said, this is our opinion. This is what we saw. I couldn't believe it. There was not one person that I spoke to, and they were Canelo fans like I am too, but that said it's a shame, and this is not right, and Canelo should never be looked at the same way again. That's what they were kind of professing, and I said, wow, that's a heck of an opinion, getting the finger on the pulse of the boxing fans and media right there.
Yeah, well, hey, you got to start somewhere, and I'm glad that he's doing it. We got another email right here. This is, good morning, Billy C. and Sal. It's me, Raheem.
Raheem, good morning.
This weekend was another good one. I enjoyed the Broner-Vargas fight, even though I had Broner winning 115-113. It was a good battle. And Amir Khan, I think, is going to shake things up in 2018. And if Mayweather is able to get in MMA, then 2018 will be real great. I heard on a boxing news channel that Trump will pardon Jack Johnson. I think that's great. Even though I'm the only one in my family that voted for him, I did so because of how he negotiates and deals and his time in the apprentice shows and his leadership ability. The president negotiated many boxing fights, and I think the Prez would get the boxing vote in 2020 if he pardons Johnson. I just think that a pardon for Johnson would be granted. Thanks for the email, Raheem. Listen, I'm going to get into that because I'm very adamant about that whole situation with Jack Johnson. Senator McCain had incorporated a bill several years ago to pardon Jack Johnson, and it's been laying around dormant. All the previous presidents had an opportunity to pardon Jack Johnson. Very quickly, Jack Johnson was one of the greatest fighters of all time, and they charged him. You got to understand that Jack Johnson was a black man living in a 100% white man's world. During that time, we call it the Jim Crow America. Yes, slavery had been abolished, but the African Americans were treated as second-class citizens. Jack Johnson, what I loved so much about Jack Johnson was that he refused to accept it, even though a lot of black Americans did accept it at that time. They've learned over time that obviously that they were wrong, that there should have been no acceptance of being treated as a second-class citizen anywhere, let alone this country. But what I loved about Jack Johnson is Jack Johnson was more, he seemed like he was more, he had more of a problem that anybody would think of him as a second-class citizen based on the color of his skin. And a lot of his actions and stuff was a direct result of that. Now, fast forward to the Mann Act. The Mann Act was actually created. It was a law that would not permit interracial people from crossing state lines. In other words, Jack Johnson happened to have been married to a white woman. They traveled across state lines, and they were able to charge him with the Mann Act. No one did time for the Mann Act. Wow. Except Jack Johnson was charged and then sentenced, and then he went off into exile. And we'll get into the whole story on tomorrow's show. But the bottom line is that since his death, and even before that, everyone felt that it was wrong, that he should have never been charged, and they wanted that serving his time erased from the record. And the presidents haven't done it. And if Trump does it, I mean, not that I want to give him so much extra credit, Sal, but I think that this is somebody should have did this a long time ago.
I mean, you've had how many presidents since that time? I mean, this should have been something that was reversed or done, as you suggested, Bill, a very, very long time ago. It's definitely an injustice, and definitely clearing this up and erasing it from Jack Johnson's record, even though it's not relevant to what he accomplished in his life or so. But I think it'd be a good thing for any descendants and ancestors that would be proud of. And this is definitely this was something that never should have happened. And let's do what we can on this end to make sure we get it to the president and see if he could reverse it or erase it or expunge it. And I am disappointed because I wasn't too aware of any of this. But you had other presidents that should have had this on their table to sign and get rid of.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody thought that Obama was going to do it since he was such a, peace-oriented
Why
guy.
Wouldn't he do it? Why?
He didn't.
Was this something that wasn't?
I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't. When his office was contacted about it, he said that we have too many other things to look at. Rather than go back and check out who should be pardoned and who shouldn't. And I didn't think, I thought they handled it in a very generalized term. This is not a generalized situation, in my opinion, Sal. This was Jack Johnson. This guy stood for way more than the sport of boxing. It's like how I feel about the guy I wrote my book about. Jack Johnson not only was a great fighter, but he was teaching the rest of the world things that we didn't know at that time, about equality, et cetera, et cetera. You got to remember, this guy, Jack Johnson, lived in a time when they were using the N-word in newspapers. One of the greatest writers of all time, in Jack London, wrote on very frequently how James Jeffries had to come out of retirement to save the white race against a guy like Jack Johnson. This was published in papers, in newspapers. Now I
remember that, Bill. I remember hearing about that.
Well, I know that we have freedom of the press here, but I would be shocked today if somebody in a major newspaper published something as racial as what was permitted back in those days. And anyway, the point is that Jack Johnson refused to accept that. And hats off to this man. Even on the day that he died, he was all pissed off. Even he was already an established world champion and had retired and was world renowned, and he was on his way back from some fights, and him and his buddy stopped at a diner to get some food, and they wouldn't serve him. They made him sit at the in another section of the restaurant for where at that time they said colored sit over here, white sit over here. It was the same thing, you couldn't drink out of the same water fountains, etc. And Jack Johnson got so pissed off that he was being treated like this, that he walked out and was, pedal. He loved to drive fast in cars anyway, and ultimately was killed in a car accident. But we'll get into that whole story a lot better tomorrow. But it's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame. I'll tell you, I'm glad you're talking about this. I can't believe it. That's a big shame.
Well, it's clearly off of what was planned today. But anyway, we got another email. This is from my man Jeff from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. He says, "Hey, Billy C, I watched Broner against Vargas, and frankly, I felt Vargas used a tremendous game plan. I was texting with my son, and I found out that McCallum was in Vargas's corner. I immediately went back in my memories to what a tremendous body puncher he was. I told my son I wouldn't be surprised if Vargas went to the body a lot more." Tremendous is an understatement. They called him the body snatcher. He says, "This is my question. I felt that Vargas so dominated the early rounds with his aggressiveness and combination of his jab, body shots, and overhand punches. I couldn't believe that Broner, to his credit, was not wilting under this barrage. If Vargas had more power, I believe it may not have made it to the later rounds. The question, do you think Vargas dominated too much early on? Is there such a thing as winning a round too big? I'm not so sure that Broner came on so strong at the end from more effort or because Vargas was slowing down from the volume he had expended. When I see fighters win rounds with a few hard punches or by accelerating at the end to steal the round, I sometimes question if a fighter should back off a little when he's dominating a round, certainly not if the opponent is hurt. I knew the fight was growing closer, but I honestly felt, as Broner's corner did, that he needed a huge 12th round to win the fight. I was amazed at Broner's lack of effort in the 12th. He just refused to press the action as I thought he needed to. I guess the draw was better than Vargas losing, but I sincerely felt that Vargas should have received the victory by a narrow margin. Broner relies on his power too much and has become a lazy fighter in the crucial rounds. I will say this, I'm not a fan of his personality, but his fights do contain moments of excitement throughout. Man, he could take a punch, and he had to be in terrific shape to absorb those body shots. I believe Vargas should definitely stay with McCallum. Against most opponents, this would have been a dominant performance. It was a great game plan." I agree. I thought it was a great game plan. And I also agree that if Jessie Vargas had more power, maybe it would have hurt Broner. I agree with this whole email because Broner,
me too,
for some reason, does not put his foot on the gas, and it's, I mean, his corner was crying, pleading with him too. And the other thing is Broner's fights are exciting. Broner, if you go back and watch his style of fighting as a lightweight, he was in attack mode, and he seems more being safety first. I don't know. What did you see, Sal?
I thought that first half of the fight, Vargas, to his credit, was, throwing those body shots, pushing the fight. I mean, even when they were doing some commentary, his punch output was, I don't want to quite say doubled what it normally was, but I mean, it was exceeding his average. And the body attack, I think, was stellar. And to Broner's credit, he weathered that storm. I mean, he really did. And, I think it was a combination, to get back to the email, that maybe Vargas may have punched and expended a lot of his energy in that first half of the fight, thinking that body attack would pay off the dividends it normally could and would have in the later rounds of the fight. Maybe he could have sustained another level or another round or two of that kind of pressure and pushing, and maybe that would have changed the outcome of the fight. I don't know. I did give Vargas the fight by a very narrow margin, but I cannot disagree either with the draw, because I do agree that that definitely Broner came back strong in that second half of the fight, and he weathered the storm and he turned it around. So I thought it was a good action-packed fight. I definitely would be interested in seeing a rematch, and so we'll see here. But I think that I think a lot of those early rounds, Vargas probably thought they would pay dividends later on, and he would not have folded or not have that energy level to worry about.
Yeah, this goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. You know, I wonder when fighters throw a lot of punches and miss, it tires you out. And I think that this might have been a case, you know, whether you like Broner or not, and his you know, antics are very hard to like. You know, I mean, you know, he was, you know, getting kind of, you know, racist with his accusations at the end of the fight and all of that stuff. I loved what he did to what's his face, Jim Gray. I can't stand Jim Gray, you know. So anytime somebody questions him, but then he did a reaction like he almost acted like a kid that really wanted to get some recognition. When the way the idiot Gray asked him a question, and he looked at him, and for a minute, Adrien Broner, the guy who thinks he's this showman, got normal, and he looked at him, and it was genuine, and he went, oh, so you thought I won too, or something along those lines, you know? And he was like looking for some kind of redemption, some kind of agreement, because you know, he's so callous of people disagreeing with him, and Jim Gray just was like caught off guard. But you know, they clearly seem to be building a rematch. I think there's other opportunities for Adrien Broner, you know, in the welterweight division. But I would like to see this fight. You know, Jessie Vargas is one of those fighters that's kind of being left out of the mix in a way, Sal.
Well, I think, you know, like we often say, he's a lunch pail kind of fighter. He comes in, does his work, and he does a good job. He's consistent on that level. Maybe it doesn't have the electrifying excitement of some other boxing personalities in the game, but he's a consistent, strong fighter. You know, he does a good job. You know, you can always expect from Jessie Vargas a good attempt, a good fight, and a good output on what he's going to do to try and win. So I think that goes a long way. Yeah, like I said, I think I'd like to see this fight again. I'd love to see that 15 rounds. What about you?
Oh, I would love fights to go back to 15 rounds. You know that, you know. But we got one more email. This one is from my man Johnston, and he says, "Good morning, my China plates, Billy and Sal." That's like means, you know, buddies, I guess, in the UK.
That's great.
He says, Team Joshua has until May 6th to negotiate with Team Povetkin, and we still have not heard anything from Wilder. The good news is Eddie Hearn will be meeting with Shelley Finkel and Al Heyman this Thursday in New York to try to get a deal done.
That's good to know. That you can hear it. It's not have to go.
No, we knew that he was going to be dealing with them directly. He said he was going to be dealing with them this week. But what I didn't know was that the actual date was May 6th. That's in less than 2 weeks now, right? I mean, you know, there's only 30 days. I mean, this month is over, you know, and May 1st is a week from tomorrow. So you're talking 2 weeks. And this was my point last week about Team Wilder dragging their feet. You know, what's going to happen is as soon as they have to make a deal with Povetkin, because I'm sure Eddie Hearn does not want this to go to purse bid, but as soon as they have to make a deal with Povetkin, Wilder's going to come out saying that AJ's ducking him. I will bet. What do you want to bet, Sal? I will. That's this guy's MO. Your boy is showing us, At least they could have come back with a counteroffer to show that there's some interest. Your boy right now, in my opinion, is acting, and this is just based on the actions that, or lack of, that his team, has not even negotiated, that they don't really want this fight yet. That this fight, that it's more, I think, that they feel that it's easier for them to promote Wilder if Wilder's crying and complaining that AJ is ducking him. That's the only platform he gets. Other than that, what else is there?
Well, I disagree. I think this is all part of their strategy. Remember when I said a couple weeks ago that, and I want to clarify this because we disagreed on this level. I made a comment that Deontay Wilder is holding the cards on that level. I didn't mean that he has all the cards to hold. What I meant to say is, to make this fight happen, Deontay Wilder has to be in agreement and put the name to the contract. So what I meant to say, how I wanted it to come out when I said he's holding the card, he's the valuable piece of the puzzle to solidify this deal. So what I said and what I was thinking was that he's holding strong and being quiet about it, so others on the Wilder side, on the Joshua side, are also realizing that hey, we need this dance partner. He's holding out, so maybe we need to be open to a suggestion that there might be some additional funds or monies that might come into play at the negotiation table. But I knew all along, if these guys were going to sit down and get together, Bill, it's going to happen this Thursday. And like I said, this contract should be signed, sealed, and delivered by the end of this week or early next week before the mandatory fifth date is even here. I really feel that's what they're going to do. They assumed at all time they're going to get together. This is where they're going to meet face to face. They're going to crunch out the deals, crunch out the different sides of what's going to happen, and they're going to make it happen this week.
Okay.
I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. We are going to be having a different conversation next Monday, or definitely by Tuesday.
Maybe we may. He says also, just on the ridiculous rant from Lou DiBella, who labeled Hearn a mother effer and a fool. Eddie Hearn made it clear that the events coordinator has no business getting involved. He's calling Lou DiBella an events coordinator. And I got news for you. That's all Lou DiBella is. Lou DiBella doesn't invest a penny as a promoter, and he's Al Heyman's puppet right now. And for him to call Eddie Hearn a mother effer and a fool, what kind of a fool is Lou DiBella? Eddie Hearn is doing more for the sport of boxing right now in terms of, and I'm only using this as my gauge, in terms of the fights themselves than anyone else. So I don't know where DiBella's coming from. But anyway, he says Eddie Hearn made it clear that the coordinator has no business getting involved. If I was Lou, I would keep my mouth shut because Hearn is the Archbishop of Banterbury. This is Johnston. He says, I don't know what Lou DiBella has got to do with Deontay Wilder and the discussions. He's an events coordinator for Al Heyman, basically. He's not Deontay Wilder's promoter. This is Eddie Hearn. And let me tell you, he's right, because the only guy promoting Deontay Wilder is Deontay Wilder and Sal Rocky Senecola. But aside from Sal and Deontay, nobody else is promoting him. He says, is he involved in negotiations? Absolutely not. And if he continues to wear that hat and that silly earring at his age, I will banish him from the sport of boxing. He says, not really. I like Lou DiBella. He keeps trying to get involved, but he's not a real promoter anymore. He doesn't really promote anyone. He says these shows that he's doing at the moment, he's not Adrien Broner's promoter. He's not Charlo's promoter. He's not Gervonta Davis's promoter. So what's he doing? That was kind of I think Hearn was wrong on that one. Mayweather Promotions was the main promoter of that event, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, he says, but he's got to be a little bit careful because I might give him some work. I'm coming to America. I got a major announcement soon, and if he's a good boy, I might give him some work. I'm not sure. This is Eddie Hearn. You know, he is going to make a big announcement. Maybe, Sal, maybe you're right, that the big announcement will most certainly be that the fight was signed, sealed, and delivered. We got to look forward to that. You know, listen, if it's not signed, sealed, and delivered, it's a shame. I mean, what else can you say? Everybody wants it. It seems the fighters want it, although we haven't heard nothing from Team Wilder. But it seems like the fight should be made, and it should be made next.
I really feel, Bill, as I have all along, this is a natural. And unfortunately, the assuming fans and the people on the outside, which we are considered that group, we're not privy to what's really happening at the negotiation table. And I think that this fight is going to be announced, as I suggested also, and as you suggested. This fight's bigger than boxing itself. This fight is boxing itself right now, because you have the two best or self-proclaimed greatest heavyweights active today in the heavyweight division. And they're willing to dance with each other, and they want a showdown, so they can have all the bragging rights and all the monies and accolades and rematches and everything else. I mean, we said it, and this is going to be the true fact. These guys, no matter win, lose, or draw, if they have a rematch clause and a two-fight deal, there's going to be enough money for everybody involved on these two sides, these two camps, to walk away and hold their head up and retire. And then even though that's not going to happen, they're going to be continuing on with their path of fighting. That's fine. But what I'm trying to say is this is big. And these guys will be foolish to not make this fight happen. Both sides, not just Deontay, not just AJ. They would be both foolish if they do not have their strong attempt to make this fight happen.
Well, you know what? I hope so. I really do. Like I said, guys, I apologize. Today is a shorter show than normal. We wanted to get the fight results in and stuff like that. But we do have the trivia question. And I want to thank everybody who tried to get this one. And I'm going to give another really good hint today. But the trivia questions, we're back. And if you're the first one to answer this trivia question correctly, now the way you got to answer it correctly, there are some parameters. Basically, you got to email me. And that's the only way that we're going to listen to your answer, because we go by timestamp. So if you email me the correct answer, Billy@TalkinBoxing, that's TalkinBoxing.com, you will win your very own copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game. This is the same game that Alex Papella uses for our Blast from the Past segment, which incidentally this Wednesday features Memphis Pal Moore, which is a really great fighter, Hall of Famer. And as far as I know, he never fought for a title, but we'll talk about him on Wednesday. So if you're the first one to get this question, answer this question correctly, you'll win the prize. So here's the question. It's a who am I question. Before my 20th birthday, I beat 4 world champions and lost to another one, who I also defeated just 1 month past my 20th birthday. Who am I? If you're the first one to email me, Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com, you'll win your very own copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game. Now I'm going to read this question one more time with the hints. Before my 20th birthday, I beat 4 world champions and lost to another one, who I also defeated just 1 month past my 20th birthday. Who am I?
Wow.
Here's the hints. I'm giving you 3 right now. Number 1, this guy is extremely well known. Number 2, he fought in multiple weight divisions. And here's the big one for today. Number 3, he fought for the world heavyweight title. Now, I'm not telling you whether he won or not, but he fought for the world heavyweight title. If you're the first one to email me the correct answer, Billy at Talkin' Boxing, TalkinBoxing.com, you'll win your very own copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game. Good luck to everybody on that. On this day in boxing history, April 23rd, in 1907, Mike Twin Sullivan wins a 20-round decision over Honey Melody to win the California World Welterweight title, and that took place in Los Angeles, California, on this day in 1907. On this day in 1988, Simon Brown knocks out Tyrone Trice in the 14th round to win the vacant IBF World Welterweight title, and that took place in France. On this day in 1990, Paul Banky knocks out Daniel Saragusa in the 9th round to win the WBC World Junior Featherweight title, and that took place in Inglewood, California, on this day in 1990. On this day in 1965, Salvatore Brunini wins a 15-round decision over Pon Kinpech to win the World Flyweight title. It took place in Rome. On this day in 1993, Michael second to none knocks out Crawford Ashley in the 6th round to retain his WBA World Super Middleweight title, and that took place in Memphis, Tennessee on this day in 1993. And finally, on this day, April 23rd in 2005, Antonio Margarito knocks out Kermit Cintron in the 5th round to retain his WBO World Welterweight title, and that took place at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas on this day in 2005. Hey, man, that concludes our show for today. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I'll leave you with this. Ciao, baby.